cook for like, what, 2 hours during a weekday? Not me. You know what I got time for? Instant Pot Mondays! What is Instant Pot Mondays? Meal Prep Mondays. All we do, we grab our Instant Pot, we make a really easy recipe, and it's gonna feed you all week, feed you all next week, feed you next month. I don't know, you can make a bunch of these and you can freeze them and it's gonna be a good old time. Let's get to the recipe. You already clicked on this video, so you know what we're making. Instant Pot, chicken and rice, easy weekday meal. Here you can see a pile of ingredients. I'm gonna be having the recipe just because I actually have too many leftovers right now, but the entire list is gonna be in the description. Just follow along and let's get underway. Just so we're all on the same page, what I got here, we have some olive oil. That's for making the onions in the Instant Pot. You got an onion, some garlic. We have some mixed veggies. You're gonna take those out nice and early in the cooking process, pretty much as soon as you start cooking, because you wanna make sure they start defrosting. These are gonna go into the Instant Pot at the very end, and they're not actually gonna cook. So we gotta make sure they're nice and defrosted. Low sodium chicken broth, Italian seasoning, garlic, salt, black pepper, some nice block of parm because we're fancy, and some amount of chicken. Usually you want about a pound, pound and a half, really depends on how much chicken you want. So before we go any further, I'm just going to give a shout out to Christine's Kitchen blog, which is where I stole this recipe from. I adapted it a little bit just to make it a little healthier and a little faster to make on the weekdays. So really this recipe probably takes about 45 minutes. The biggest problem is the brown rice, which always just takes forever to cook. But it's healthier, so we're just going to go with it anyway. But your first step is you're going to grab an onion, you're going to slice it up, and you're going to dice it up. You want nice little, that nice pinky fingernail sized chunks. I never said I was a good chef. I'm not very good at cutting. You're just going to take these guys, and you're just going to chunk them up real nice and tiny. Little tiny chunks. We got our nice little chunks. Gather them all back up, and we're going to dump them right into the Instant Pot. While you're here chopping up the onion, you probably want to also chop up your garlic, because you really aren't going to have the time to be prepping other ingredients at the same time. Once you get these onions in the Instant Pot and cooking in the oil, they cook fast, and they can burn fast, and that's the last thing you want. You don't want that burn warning to come up on your Instant Pot, because it's just going to lead to a bad time. Again, you want to dice up this garlic. Nice little tiny chunkies. Again, do not make fun of my knife skills. Thank you. Alright, so just take your little pile of garlic and set that to the side for now. We're not going to be using that just quite yet. Clump up your onions and get ready to dump them into the Instant Pot. Corey from the future popping in. Don't forget to weigh your Instant Pot if you want to properly portion out your meals at the end. You put on your Instant Pot on the scale, weigh it, and then you subtract it out from the total mass later. Big brain plays. Alright, grab your big boy. Bam. Plop it on the counter, plug it in. And we're going to go ahead to the front panel and we're just going to set it to saute. And I typically like to set it to more saute. But since this is the first time we're making this recipe together, you probably want to just set it to the normal feature. So that way it doesn't boil off too fast and get burning. Open the pot. Grab your olive oil. You're going to be using about 1 tablespoon if you're using the full recipe. So just drizzle that 1 tablespoon in. But we're just going to let that oil heat up for a couple minutes, probably 1, maybe 2 minutes. Alright, so with your pot heated up, grab your onions and just toss them all in. Oh yeah, listen to that sizzle. Oh yeah, gotta love it. Like I said, you gotta move fast, so grab your spatula, your spoon, whatever you prefer to use, and just stir those all up. Get that oil nicely distributed on all the onions so they don't burn. And keep an eye on the bottom, make sure that's not burning as well. While you're tending to your onions and just letting them simmer away, go ahead and measure out your brown rice. Measure out all your seasonings if you have a chance. And then just let this keep going. You want this about 3 to 5 minutes until the onions start getting a little soft and squishy. But again, we don't want to caramelize. If you start browning on the bottom and caramelizing, it's not a good sign. So you just want to get them a little translucent, soft, and squishy. Alright, so you can see we're getting just a little bit of browning on the bottom, which is not what we want. So that means we're pretty much done already. If we take a peek, you can see those guys on the top of the spatula are very translucent, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to grab our garlic, we're going to toss them in, We're gonna grab our brown rice and you're just gonna toss that right in. It feels weird. That's okay, it's fine. It feels so wrong to just put dry rice into a pot, but it's fine, I promise. Mix that up. Grab your Italian seasoning. I'm just gonna put in however much I want. Listed below is the actual amount you're supposed to put in. But I have this stupid twist top, so I just gotta grind up my own Italian seasoning. Got that seasoning in? Stir it up. What's next? Grab your garlic powder, measure it out, dump it in. I'm free-balling it at this point because I've made this recipe so many times I know how much I need. Grab your salt, put that in. Now this is a little audible you can play yourself. If you plan on using this later, you can kind of turn this recipe into anything you want. So if you kind of want to make it into Asian rice or some spicy rice, go a little lower on the sodium. You don't want to put so much salt in that you start out super salty and then you add in, say, buffalo sauce or soy sauce, because then it's just not going to be a good time. But no matter what, put all these spices in because it's going to give you a nice base flavor to work with. So right now I'm just putting in black pepper, stirring it up. You also want to make sure that in between uses that you clean your Instant Pot really well. You can see whatever I made last time, it didn't come out in the dishwasher very well. I got a lot of browning already and we barely even cooked anything yet. So that's never ideal. Alright, so after about a minute of cooking this rice, we're just gonna go ahead and kill off the pot, turn it off, we're done sauteing. We're gonna grab our chicken broth, and we're gonna put that in. I'm a little low on chicken broth. Don't tell anyone, but I'm just gonna sub up the rest with water. It works the same, just not as flavorful. Pour in your water chicken broth combo, get that sizzle, and this is the really, really important part. You wanna make sure you get into the bottom and scrape up any bits of brown that you have. If you've got little burnt on bits, that's what we're gonna take the time to scrape off right now. Now that we have all this nice and combined, you just wanna take your spatula and just scrape down the sides. Just like our last video, we have to make sure that there's no juices, no rice, no chunks of onion on the sides of the pots, because that's gonna burn and cause you problems later on. We're gonna level it out. If your Instant Pot's not too hot, which mine is not, you can just grab it and give it a little jiggle to try and distribute out that rice better. One last little pat, spread it out. And now, the best part of the recipe is all we're gonna do with the chicken. I'm gonna take it out of my storage container. I'm gonna drain it, pat it, and just dump it right in, that's it. Alright, so depending on how fancy you are, I'm not very fancy. I got some crappy chicken cut by the store. So it's not that good, it's a little fatty, so make sure you do some trim work on your chicken if it's not looking pretty. Take your breast and just plop it right down. That's it. Done. That's it. Then we're just going to take the Instant Pot lid and we're going to put it on, pop it, lock it, make sure you're set to sealing mode, and pressure cook on high pressure for 20 minutes. And that's it. Wait for it. There it is. Alright, so you're going to let that go in there for 20 minutes. Remember, you got the pressure building time, so it's more like 30-ish minutes. And after that, we're going to go into a natural release for 12 minutes, meaning we don't touch the valve when it beeps. Now, you got all the time in the world to clean this mess of a kitchen we made. Look at all this crap. It's time to clean it. We got plenty of time. Doesn't get much better than that. Oh, sorry guys, I forgot you were there. I was so busy not cooking when my little robot's here cooking for me. What? Oh, I'll put that away for a minute. So, we got our beeping. That means the main pressure cooking is done. However, we are doing a natural release after 12 minutes. So we're now in countdown time. When this goes back up to 12 minutes, that's when you're done. You're going to come here and flick the switch. Alrighty. Time is 12 minutes. Now, it's time to do a forced manual release. Make sure your little valve is pointed away from your cabinet, especially if you have wood ones. Since I'm in a little bit of an awkward angle, I'm going to use a tool. I'm just going to prop open this and let it vent out. Next, grab 2 big forks, pop the top, observe, ooh, yes, yes, and then just get shredding. Shred that chicken up. Alright, so just finish shredding up your chicken. Make sure it's nice and tiny. I personally like little tiny shreds. But while it's still hot, you want to grab your bag of mixed veggies. This is a preference thing. The original recipe called for peas and carrots. I've had success using this fun bag. This is another thing where you kind of go on your own accord. I'm going to add in however much I feel is right. Assess. Stir. Shred up some of my chicken as I find more chunks. Give this a good stir because you want to get this in here so it gets that heat. Yeah, I could go a little bit more. 2 servings of veggies for my 2 servings of chicken and rice, which I think is a pretty good amount. Yeah, good distribution, good color. Finish shredding up the last little guys, and we are done. So that's it. You just take this out and you serve it up and you eat it. One of my favorite things to do is to take it and just the next day, the next week, throw it in a skillet and make it some stir-fried rice. Make it buffalo rice, make it cheesy rice, put different things on top of it. This is such a good platform to make so many different types of easy meals. Because once you have it, and then you can just make 12 different recipes out of it. It's just a great base. So, thank you for coming to Cooking with Corey, episode 2. 1? I don't know. But today we've made chicken and rice, Instant Pot, super fast, 45 minutes, barely any cooking time, about 10 to 20 minutes of prep time depending on your knife skills. And we're done. Thank you for coming. Goodbye!